Of people potentially being canceled, you guys are gonna love our next topic. And our next topic comes from a Dave Moore. And he writes, "Hey Alex, so in recent history, there have been actors slash directors fired for tweets that they have made in the past. Do you think that companies should fire their talent because of tweets they have made in the past?" Well, thank you for your question, Dave. Now, I'm gonna tread somewhat lightly on this thing. I'm gonna be brutally honest, but I'm gonna tread lightly in regards to, okay, I actually know some people at studios, so if they watch this, I don't want to hinder any of my opportunities. But anyway, I'm gonna be honest. So here's the thing, and we kind of, me and my panelists, we addressed this in on one of the videos we did about separating the art from the artist. If you put a camera on all of our lives from beginning to where we are now, all of us would be canceled. That's just being honest. Like, we've all said and done some stupid things. My feeling on this, as a man, as a businessman, even as a black man, I understand that there are going to be things in our past that we have said or done that are eventually not who we are right now. I know 16 version of Alex is way different than 27-year-old version of Alex. And you have to understand that if I've evolved as a person and that's not who I used to be, I think that there should be some leniency. But with that being said, from a company standpoint, in regards to Mr. Sawyer, who got fired from The Flash, from a company standpoint and the CW, most of their characters are, LGBTQ, and then also you have black, Hispanic, and Asian and white characters. In that particular setting, as a company, I would probably have to fire him for what he said, because what you said affects all of the co-workers that you work with. And I'm not talking about just people from The Flash. You got Black Lightning, you got Arrow, you got Legends, you got people outside of the Arrowverse who subscribe to what the CW is doing. And I can't necessarily get angry at the CW for doing that, because they had to do that for them. They had to do that. That was the right business move for them to do. Whether I agree or disagree with it or not is irrelevant, but I will say this, is that if you do something in your past and you're that same person, you deserve all your consequences that come to you. But if you do something in your past and you've evolved and you want a chance to redeem yourself, okay, you can definitely continue doing that. If a job fires you because of that, I understand why they did that, but also keep in mind, James Gunn got a second chance. So second chances are out there. But also keep in mind, when I look at Mr. Sawyer and James Gunn, there's a different level of celebrity that people are willing to tolerate. Like, I'm willing to tolerate more of James Gunn's fantastic movies than I am Mr. Sawyer's acting. That's not to say I like one or the other, but if I had to choose, it would potentially probably be James Gunn. But at the end of the day, I don't agree necessarily with cancel culture. But if you do something in your past, and I just have to be honest, if you do something in your past that's documented, especially online, more than likely it's going to follow you. But you have to address it. You have to address it and make it known and say, like, listen, yes, I did this, but I'm not that person anymore. That's what you have to do as a human being. Now, whether if a company wants to keep you or not, that's between them and that company. But at the end of the day, especially when you're playing a superhero, you have to be very careful about what you have to say. Because I guarantee you, anybody that's in the DCEU, the MCU, the Arrowverse, if they start spouting out racial slurs or homophobic stuff between they got hired and now, I guarantee you majority of them will not have a job. They won't. I guarantee you that won't happen. And you have to be very, very careful about what you post and even things that you say on and off camera. But I know you guys love controversy. I'm gonna pass this on to Ian. Ian, what do you think about old tweets resurfacing, and do you think that there should be do you think that actors or directors should get fired for old tweets depending on what they are?
a very loaded question, Alex, and I'm gonna give a different answer than I would usually give because I've been asked this question multiple times, but I've been thinking a little bit after hearing you talk a little bit, and I'm gonna freelance this one, freeball this one. Mm-hmm. I think we should all get canceled, and I'll explain. You know, the weird thing to say about that. I think everybody should just all get canceled. We should all just own up to our stupid stuff that we've said and done. Actors, directors, writers, us on YouTube, the nanny that watches our kids. We should all just throw out the dumbest thing and stupidest thing we've said, just so we could just avoid this day that's going to eventually come. You know, because like you said, we all, you know, we are not the same person. 16-year-old me, I wish I could knock him the hell out. He was a stupid idiot. So that's what I'm saying. This is why I'm going to campaign for it. We should just cancel it ourselves. Just throw yourself out there because we all know we're not holier than thou. We, you know, as Jesus would say, if you believe in that, whoever's without sin, throw the first stone.
Right.
So because there's literally people out there, their full-time job is not working, but to look for your mistakes. That's literally what they're digging up tweets because they're bored with, you know, whatever going on in their life. They don't have anything else to do. So let's just not give them the satisfaction. Let's do it before them. Like Eminem did in 8 Mile. He pretty much said, you know what? I am a bum. You fucked my girl. I live in a trailer and all this stuff. But you know what? I'm still dope. You know, I think we should eventually do that because I'm just getting tired of seeing this all the time. Now, as you said too, if you're not changed, like if you're still like saying stupid racist stuff or stupid, you know, sexist things and raping people, then obviously you don't, you know, you're not going to be, you shouldn't be representing an entertaining company or any type of company. Mm-hmm. If I owned a company, if I knew you were doing that, yeah, you'd be gone immediately. Exactly. So I guess, you know, there's a double-edged sword. Like sometimes there needs to be that awareness because some people don't know about logic or life. But at the same time, though, this digging up tweet stuff, I'm kind of getting over it. And it's like, even with Jimmy Kimmel, he said some racist things recently, or they're digging up stuff recently from what he said in the past, his man show days, his blackface and the racial thing. Honestly, as a black man, I don't care, you know, and it's weird to say that, you know, people might call me a sellout, but I don't care because I watched the man show back in the day. I knew the type of person he is. I know from watching him in the 90s to now that he has grown and he doesn't think and act like that anymore. So to me, this is a waste of time, you know. There's other things to worry about if you want to think political or justice, injustice and all that stuff in our society. Why are we digging up old stuff from other people? Are we that bored? Come on. That's all I got to say about that. Cancel me. Cancel the controversy. I've done and said stupid stuff. Don't fuck with me and let me redeem myself.
And there. I want to point out these are the opinions of Ian Elliott Carter. I'm kidding. But anyway, like honestly though, I agree with what he said. We should all be canceled. Seriously, because if you put a camera on us between the day we were born up until now, I guarantee you would not be pleased by everything that we did. And also, before I pass it to Jeremy, I would like to point out the people who are constantly searching for old tweets or old frantic posts from 10 plus years ago. You guys are the most evil people that I've ever seen. You really have nothing better else to do. Like, I didn't agree with what happened. And again, I'm not condoning what anybody has said. The stuff that Sawyer said was stupid and dumb. The stuff that James Gunn said was stupid and dumb. Even the stuff that Kevin Hart said was stupid and dumb. But they have all apologized and took accountability for their actions. Granted, I understand that, you know, there are some things that people can't get over. I get it. But for people to go dig up tweets or Instagram or Facebook posts, like, it's like you have nothing better else to do. I don't understand that. But Jeremy, you heard this news about people getting fired from old tweets or posts. What do you think about people getting fired by, you know, these old things from our past?
Well, unfortunately, I didn't bring any props with me today, so I'm not going to have the same dramatic heft to what I'm about to say. But as the resident white dude on the panel, I think you should be able to say whatever you want with zero consequences, no matter when it is or what it is. Thank you. That's my TED Talk.
Oh, wow.
Oh, shit. No, I mean, all things are not equal. all things are not equal. And that's what I want to drive home to you guys. And Alex, I think you bring up a very interesting point, because are we approaching this from the perspective of the companies that let go of these people? Are we approaching this from the perspective of these people that get let go? Are we approaching this from the angle of the people who get offended by the things that these people said? Mm-hmm. And then, you know, the way that Donald Trump is trying to group protesters and rioters as the same group of people is the same as saying, like, what Louis C.K. did is the same as what James Gunn did, right? Like, right. Doing something to people is a lot different than saying something stupid. What I just now did, out of context, it's stupid shock humor. I don't mean it. It's satire. It's the purpose of it is to point out how ridiculous something like that is. It's not my intention to say this to somebody and then take it literally. I also feel that it's not my responsibility to hope that every single person in the world understands and gets the nuance in what I'm saying. You know, there was a couple of teachers here in the area lately, in the area here in Escambia County, here in Pensacola, Florida Panhandle. Mm-hmm. And this teacher, white woman, came out with this like 4-paragraph post about privilege, and then started drawing parallels between privilege and social programs like welfare and food stamps, and saying privilege is this and that and the other thing. And it's like, lady, you're a teacher right now. You just now said that. Mm-hmm. Of course the school is going to fire you. Exactly. Like, you have the right to say it. You can say it. Nobody's saying you can't say it. Mm-hmm. But you're going to have to deal with the consequences of it, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's not illegal to be a porn star, but if you're a 5th grade teacher and you post porn videos of yourself, chances are pretty good you're going to get fired. So you just have to understand the consequences that are associated with it. That said, I feel like there should be a statute of limitation as far as stuff goes. You know what I mean? Like, if I said some shit 5 years ago and you want to come to me with it today and be like, I'm holding you responsible for this thing that you said 5 years ago, I mean, I guess I would, you know, do what everybody else does, hire some person to write me a nice, eloquent apology so that I could post it and hope for some good PR spin off of it. But you know, all these people are just like, man, why did you have to single me out when all of us, every single person, that we poop, we masturbate, we do all sorts of stuff that is weird when you say it in the context of like a public space. So like you were saying about having a camera on you for 24 hours a day, we don't want to acknowledge that each other are human beings. We don't want to acknowledge that each other are flawed, because in order to feel superior, you have to be able to like finger wag at other people. So if I'm going to be self-righteous, I can't let you know about my flaws, my faults, the things that I've done wrong in the past. But I think about a comedian like Andrew Schultz. I don't know if you guys know who that is, Andrew Schultz.
Yeah. He's on the Brilliant Idiots with Charlamagne.
Yes, yeah. And he's fantastic. Mm-hmm. And you know, he's a fairly controversial comedian as far as a lot of the stuff that he says is a little bit edgy, but he's a nice person. Like, there's a TED Talk that he did where there's a woman in the audience that starts having a seizure. He goes into the audience, he helps the woman, he makes sure that she gets out of the club and that she goes and gets help from the paramedics or whatever. He goes up and continues on his set, and he starts to joke about it. Mm-hmm. And this woman in the crowd, she stands up and she's like, no, you cannot joke about that. That is just not funny. And he said, well, what do you do for a living? Mm-hmm. And she said, oh, I'm an EMT. And he said, well, then why didn't you get up and help?
Wow.
Because it's easier to complain, and we feel like that's good enough. Like all of a sudden we're morality or justness just because we can complain about shit. it's like, do something better with your time. Instead of digging up tweets from irresponsible artists who, over the course of their lives, have inevitably said or done something stupid, put some time into charity work. Go down to a soup kitchen. Shut up. Get off these people's cases and go do something positive with your time. As far as what that guy said, I personally wasn't super offended by it, but I wouldn't be. You know what I mean? It's not for me to decide. And I think, Alex, you brought up a really good point that it's a team, it's a collective. There are a lot of people whose feelings could have legitimately been hurt. It's hard to say. With the James Gunn thing, I look at those tweets and I'm like, that's obviously a dumb joke. That's obviously a bad attempt at satire, because child molesters typically, I wouldn't think, would post their crimes or their intention of committing a crime to their millions of followers. There's such a dissonance to me. Who cares about what people say? We need to take the power away from words. Words are the cheapest, easiest bullshit. Look at me. I've been sitting here for 5 minutes talking. It means nothing. Like, it's the easiest thing in the world to do. So let's focus less on what people are saying and focus a lot more on the things that they do to decide whether or not they are good people or the content of their character. Because I just feel like this idea of misconstruing and taking things out of context, it's just tired. It's just getting old.
Yeah. And I agree. I agree that, I agree with my panelists that, I do think that when you say things, there are consequences for the things that you say. That's why I said earlier, I'm going to tread lightly, because, again, I actually know a couple people who watch my show who are higher ups, but they won't. It's funny. They watch my show, but they won't promote the damn thing. But okay. But at the same at the same time, I understand and I respect what they do, but at the same time, everything that I or anyone says, there's a consequence for. That's why you have to be very careful about the things that you say. Also, keep in mind, and there's one thing I will say before I go to the next topic. I find it odd that Warner Brothers, who owns the CW, took it upon themselves to fire Hartley Sawyer, which they're within their rights to do. Ezra Miller's still the Flash, and we have him on tape. On tape.
Recently, those tweets are old. Ezra Miller, like a couple months ago, did this.
Exactly. And that's where the disconnect is. And again, I'm sure WB will probably come out once they start revving up production for this movie about Ezra Miller. But who's to say if he'll still be the Flash or not? But what do you guys think? Do you think that people should be canceled for the things that they tweet or the things that they say? Do you think that Warner Brothers or other companies have the right to fire those particular actors? Jump into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts.